All right, everyone, welcome back to the second podcast of Monday, December 5th. It's the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm Adam Martin. That's Big Marcel. This is the UFC 282 preview. We're also going to talk about Bellator 289 as well, so we'll break down both those cards. It's crazy, right? Bellator is actually going to get to Bellator 300 before the UFC gets to the 300 one, but that's because, the fight night cards aren't numbered.
Yeah.
Marcel, I already know you're doing well because we talked a few minutes ago, so I'm not going to ask you again. We got Glenn in the chat talking about the tickets. Half the tickets are on sale. Well, let's be honest. Like, they took a hit with the main event changing. I mean, the Yuri Glover fight was like a bigger fight. I don't know how many people know Ankalaev still. He's a great fighter. Don't get me wrong, but anyways, go ahead.
The problem is people buying tickets for one fight in MMA. You should never buy a ticket for one fight. You should buy tickets to watch more fights. And the thing is, I see that many times. Like, yeah, now it's shit. The card. Listen, guys, I understand and I agree that the card isn't as amazing as we normally get at the end of the year, the December card. And I fully agree, But it's like when I buy a ticket to go to an event, I buy it because I want to have the experience. To be at an event is just amazing, to be at an event and to watch some fights. And I don't really care what fights are on. I just want to see fights. Of course, you want to see some quality fights. It's a pay-per-view, and you should get some quality fights. But the thing is, so things happen, and man, we honestly should be happy the UFC has made another title fight on this card, because if not, we would have been stuck with Paddy Pimblett. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah.
That's true, actually. Good point. All right, a couple more comments here, and we're going to get into the preview. What's up, Bircha? Or your boy Bircha here. Yeah, well, it looks like there's other fighters at 170, like Brian Barberina, that might get that fight instead, but we'll wait and see what happens. Unfortunately, we will talk about that Ponzinibbio-Lawler fight. I would have picked Ponzinibbio, though. Obviously, he was minus 450. He was going to win the fight.
I had the KO first round.
So who retweeted the tweet you mentioned about TJ retiring, I guess, eh? Erik Silva, we're going to talk about him in a sec. Remember, it's the new Erik Silva. It's not the old guy that... It's crazy. I actually think this guy's older than the other Erik Silva that used to fight. How fucked is that, man? That's crazy. That is crazy. I still remember when Erik Silva fought, Carlo Prater, Neo, and Mario Yamasaki DQ'd him, and it was like, the guy knocked him out, and then he's like, hit him in the back of the head like one time. Like, we see that in every fight, and he's like, DQ. And I remember people, like, they all bet on Erik Silva. It was like the horrible bad beat. So what's up, man? Glad to have you here. Last year's card was better. I think this card's really good, man, personally, but we'll get into it. Not a lot of names on the public. On the prelims, yeah, but on the main card, I mean, there's a lot of big names on this card. And they're going to, I guess, bump, unless they get Ponzinibbio a fight, which hopefully they do, they'll bump up someone from the prelims. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you guys aren't wrong. Like, there's a lot of prospects, but on the prelims, the main card is full of, I would say, established fighters for the most part. All right, let's get into it, Marcel. Let's get into UFC 282. Can't wait to talk about this with you, my friend. All right, guys. Before we start, I always ask Marcel this: like, what's your overall thoughts on the card? Because obviously, some people in the chat are kind of up and down on this one. I think it's a pretty good card. What do you think, man?
Gotta agree with John, man. I think the card from last Saturday was like a pay-per-view card without a title fight, and this is kind of like a pay-per-view fight or pay-per-view card with a come together title fight, which wasn't a title fight at first. This was actually the original co-main event, right? Without a title on the line. I love the fight, not gonna lie. I really like the fight. I understand. I understand the backlash about it, but what can we do about it, right? I mean, injuries happen. It's unfortunate that it's had to be the main event. And it's even more unfortunate that it was the only title fight on the card, So, yeah, and now also Robbie Lawler is off. It's also not really good for name value that Robbie Lawler is not fighting.
Yeah.
But we'll see, man. I think let's enjoy these two last cards of the year. After that, we have 4 weeks without UFC. So
I agree with Marcel. There's no point trust me, guys. Once the fights are done in 2 weeks, you're going to be talking about it. Yeah, hey, what's up, Lonnie? Haven't seen you here in a while, man. TJ Dillashaw retired. That's apparently what happened. We talked about the last podcast. To me, Ankalaev, here's Bircha, he's saying this, never be big star unless because he fights safe like most wrestlers. Like football, wouldn't you rather watch exciting team than super defensive? Yes, I'd rather watch the Kansas City Chiefs play than what's it called? Denver Broncos. Or I guess in your football, you'd rather watch Brazil play than Japan, I guess. Or something.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't really specifically agree that Ankalaev is a wrestler, man.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. Dude. I think he's more of a striker personally.
Yeah.
But anyways, I know what he's saying though. Let's be honest, he does kind of play it safe in a lot of his fights, But what's the point of fighting? To win? So the guy wins fights. He knows how to win, except for that Paul Craig fight, which is so weird.
Which he should have won.
I still can't believe he tapped out 1 second. Like it just doesn't make sense to me, man. It's like when Jamie Pickett tapped. Was it against Kyle Daukaus? Remember he tapped out 1 second left? It's like, dude, have some awareness of the clock. You have to, Anyways, let's get into this. All right. First fight in the card, Marcel. Let's start it off. First fight, Cameron Saaiman taking on Steven Koslow. Now, this guy is making his UFC debut, and he has such a funny nickname, Obi-Wan Shinobi the Pillow. Like, I don't even get it. Our boy James Lynch actually interviewed him. I honestly have never heard of this guy, so I watched the interview, and he's an interesting guy. I mean, he's talking about some of the training partners he has. And he's I watched his tape. I'll start Marcel first. By the way, the odds -285 for Cameron Saaiman, +240 for Steven Koslow. So I'll start off. I watched the tape on him because again I never heard of this guy. And I mean, listen, he's a decent grappler, right? But here's the problem, guys. Like, I watch a lot of regional MMA, and like, if you have decent grappling, we will win a lot of fights on the regional circuit. Like, you can just take people down. I don't know how easy he's going to get Saaiman down. And on the feet, that Saaiman guy looked incredible in his UFC debut. Like, Dana White was talking about he's the best prospect of the season, and he looked amazing against that Joshua and Kim guy, who's a good striker too. Obviously overcame some early adversity, came back and won. I think that, Koslow will probably be able to beat someone in the UFC, but I don't think he wins this fight, man. This will probably be his first loss, and they're both 6-0. It's a fight that makes a lot of sense, but I think Saaiman gets it to him. It takes it to him and probably finishes him by strikes. That's what I think happens here. So going with Cameron Saaiman, Marcel, like after what I saw from Contender, the guy looks legit, and I think he wins this fight against the short notice opponent. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. Actually, I don't know if I told you before, but if you literally translate Saaiman from Dutch to English, it means boring man. So
he's not boring though. For sure.
No. Cameron Saaiman. I mean, he looked good at Contenders. Just like you said, he came back in the Joshua Kim fight and stopped him. Koslow, Obi-Wan Shinobi the Pillow. I feel like Cameron Saaiman is going to finish him as well. I think he finished him with strikes probably in the second round, if not the third round. But I think the South African wins here.
I agree completely, man. I do think he wins this fight, guys. Koslow's first fight against someone with a winning record. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, Glenn. He did look good in his tape, but again, it was against low-level opponents who have little experience and who can't stop a takedown. How's he going to do against a guy who probably can stop his takedowns and then keep it on the feet? I will say Koslow has a lot of amateur experience, but again, this is a step up for him, and it's on short notice too, so it's just a hard fight in my opinion. By the way, Bircha just was explaining what he said. Like, he's not calling a wrestler, but he fights safe. I know what you're saying.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Got a bit of a sore throat right now. All right, next fight, Daniel De Silva taking on Vinicius Salvador. Vinicius Salvador -195, Daniel De Silva +165. I want to start on this one, Marcel, as well. I fucking love Vinicius Salvador in this fight, and if James Krause didn't screw, I'd put my entire mortgage on this fight. I'm just joking. You can't do that, but I love him in the spot. I think he knocks this dude out. This guy is legit. They're both young, but Salvador's on a 4-fight win streak. He looked amazing on the Contender against Shannon Ross, who's a good fighter. Almost his 16 wins, 15 by knockout, which is insane for a flyweight. His striking looked amazing. Daniel De Silva's 0-3 in the UFC. He's been knocked out 2 of those fights, was submitted in the other one. He got no defense. He doesn't have a chin. He gets destroyed. I think Salvador knocks him out probably in the first round, maybe the second round, maybe in the third round, but it doesn't matter. I think he destroys him, and if you get Salvador by like knockout at even or plus money, I would take that probably because that's how he wins almost all of his fights, and that's how De Silva loses. So I have no doubt in my mind he wins, Marcel. I feel extremely confident in Vinicius Salvador. It was like Natan Levy last week on the prelims. This is my prelim, guy that I really feel confident about. What do you think, man?
Is it really weird that I still believe in Daniel De Silva?
It's kind of weird because he's looked so bad, bro. He's looked horrible. Other than dropping the last guy, Victor Altamirano, before he got smashed on the ground. Go ahead, though.
Yeah, I still believe in him, although I'm not going to pick him in this fight. Like you say, Vinicius Salvador, he looked really good against Shannon Ross in the Contender Series. Looked like somebody who can be a contender in the division. You know what I mean? And the striking was really good in my opinion. I also pick him to win. I also pick him to finish, probably in the first round knockout for Vinicius Salvador. But I still think Daniel Da Silva ain't a bad fighter, dude. But it just hasn't worked out for him in the UFC, and he got finished in all fights.
Yeah, and this is a hard matchup, man. I think this guy's good. Yes, I like Salvador by knockout. I just checked, and there's no knockout prop yet, but inside distance is like even money. So I imagine a knockout specifically would be plus money, like plus 110, plus 120, because it's how he wins almost everyone's fights. I think he wins. I love him in the spot. I think it's a good fight for him, and I really believe in this guy, man. He looks great. 3 of Salvador's last 5 wins, King. It's 0-0 fighters, not so convinced. I know what you're saying, Glenn, but like from what I saw against Shane and Ross, who's a good fighter, like he's legit. What do you think, Marcel? I know what Glenn's saying, but that win over, like Ross is a good fighter. They signed him to the UFC after losing because they like him too, right? I don't know. I mean, I know what Glenn's saying. It's always something to keep in mind when you are fighting. You know, I know what you're saying. I completely agree with you. I mean, look at the record of some of the guys, but again, what I saw in that fight was a very impressive prospect, and hopefully I'm not wrong, man. But it's more of a fate. Honestly, Marcel, it's a fate in Da Silva too. You know, like how can you really pick him at this point? In my opinion, you know, watch him come out and win though. Marcel, it's your boy Evil Eddie.
Hey, what's up, man?
There you go. All right, let's go to the next one here. Next fight, we got Erik Silva versus TJ Brown. All right. So TJ Brown is another one of James Crouch's fighters, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I don't know who he'll be training or coaching him, right? That's an interesting thing to talk about as well, right? Odds for this one are it's a pick 'em, Marcel, minus 110 each. What do you think, man?
It's actually this is like typically a guy, Erik Silva, who's coming in the UFC, contender series guy, undefeated, but hasn't faced any really good competition, in my opinion. You know, the Anfa Bonazaro fight he won in contender series was a guy who was actually a kickboxer, you know, who's come over from kickboxing to MMA for that glory. That's why I know. TJ Brown, it's also not really impressed me in the UFC so far, man, to be really honest. Lost his last fight against Saaiman, and before that he got 2 wins. That Kai Kamaka win still very iffy to me. You know, I still think Kai Kamaka should have got that win. I know many people don't agree with me, but I agree with myself, obviously. It's difficult, man. This is going to be, I'm going to pick Silva via decision, but this can be a typical fight where a contender series guy come in undefeated and losing in his first fight in the UFC. So I wouldn't be surprised with that, but taking Silva decision.
And the thing about this dude is that he's kind of old too, right? He's 35. I mean, he's older than me, so like that's interesting.
Yeah, they're definitely old. And they're older.
Yeah, man, you're older than me. You're old. I mean, he looked good in Contender, right? We both liked him in that spot. I remember we had that fight, but like, I don't know. I mean, I'll pick him too. I'm going to pick him because he's on a nice win streak, and I don't think TJ Brown's that good, but you know, he's a decent grappler, and he could cause this guy problems. You never know, right? And like you said, like honestly, a lot of his fights in the UFC have been really close fights, like even the losses, right? He could win. It's a fight. I'll probably end up passing on it personally, but you know, I go with Erik Silva. It's just again, 35 making his debut. That's the only thing that kind of scares you. He's a late bloomer, right? But we'll see what happens there. All right, young 35, no damage in his career. That's true, actually. I'm just saying, like, he's not 25. If he was 25, I would pick him without hesitation. I mean, I'm picking him anyways, but you know, it's just he's a late bloomer, right? All right, let's go to the next fight here. Next fight is this one
OSP
is
against Trocoli.
Yeah, I mean, this fight is just weird. What do you think? This is a weird fight, and it's minus 110 odds each again. So another pick'em, which you don't see back-to-back pick'em fights. I'll start on this one too. I mean, I don't know. This is a weird fucking fight, man. Honestly, it's strange. Like OSP was supposed to fight Gustafsson. Was that supposed to be the fight? Right?
Yeah, OSP was supposed to fight Gustafsson. Then OSP was supposed to fight
Philippe wins.
Yeah, and now he's supposed to fight Trocoli.
I just after that Shogun fight, dude, I can't pick him. There's no way. I mean, he won that fight. Looked horrible. Looked horrible against Bozer. Looked horrible against Hill. He did beat Manifield. That was 2 years ago now. I don't know. The guy's on a huge decline, in my opinion. Like, he's almost 40. He's fighting this guy who's he hasn't, fought in the UFC yet, and he's taking a short notice, right? That's not good things, but Contender was very impressive. Then, of course, he tested positive after lost his UFC contract. But I think he matches up well here. I mean, he's actually taller and longer than OSP, which is something OSP usually has as an advantage in his fights. This is a fade on OSP for me. I mean, I don't think I can actually put money in Trocoli because it's his UFC debut. He's taking a short notice. But as far as the pick goes, Marcel, I can't pick OSP. I can't do it. I have to pick Trocoli. And does he finish OSP? Maybe. I mean, OSP, I really do think he's on the end, like nearing the end. Maybe it's some down submits him. It's possible. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, after Wellington Turman, another Brazilian who makes me think about food, broccoli.
Broccoli,
you know?
yeah.
I mean, Antonio Trocoli. He got that winning contender series and he tested positive. When he got cut from the UFC. Now he's back. They needed a short notice opponent for OSP. I think it's a dangerous fight, dude, for OSP. This guy has something to prove, and OSP. Listen, man, I wanted to say who picks OSP in 2022, but I think we both did against Shogun. So I can't say that, but I'm definitely not an OSP here, man. I don't think he's gonna win. He's just not that guy anymore. You know what I mean? It's the same with Gustafsson, who he was supposed to fight. He's also not that guy anymore, And Gustafsson was even higher back then than OSP, in my opinion. But there are some of these guys who are really in the, how do you say that, in the last stage of their careers, you know what I mean? And they keep letting them fight each other, and it's really midterm, and they keep putting them normally on main cards, which I don't like. This time it's a prelim. Trocoli's going to win, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he finishes him.
It's just hard to pick OSP.
Yeah.
OSP used to be the man. He was good back in the day in Strikeforce. Even in the UFC, he did pretty well sometimes. Get the vibe OSP doesn't go. I agree with that. I think someone gets finished. Trocoli from right up to fighting a can to UFC debut. Crazy, right? But he still might win. Hey, man, I love the UFC action figures behind you. Do they make these anymore? These are round 5 action. These are old now. Remember, did you ever see these back in the day? Did you ever see these at the store? Did they ever sell them? Yeah, I have a bunch of them, obviously. Put them up here. It's been 2 years since they've been behind me now, guys. It's crazy, eh? I remember building the office 2 years ago.
I always liked those, man. I always liked those.
Like I told you at the Vonderlei one, which is there, it's signed by Vonderlei. I got to meet him once at my gym when I used to train MMA, and he signed it for me. So he was awesome. And yeah. What's your guys' fight of the year? Yeah, it's Yuri Glover for sure.
Yeah.
After the Jones fight, OSP fell off. He did. And you're right, he did used to play football. Was it Tennessee Volunteers? Is that the team he played for? I want to say.
You asking me? I have no idea, dude.
No, I'm trying to think. I think that's what it's called, right? Isn't that the name of the team? I believe. Yeah, that's right. I'm right. So I got that right. I don't watch college football, but I know some of the teams. UFC should do a Panini Club. I think they still do, right? Aren't the cards the Panini cards? I don't have them, but I have a Ken Shamrock WWE. When I was a kid, I used to watch. When you're a kid, you watch wrestling, and then I think when you're an adult, you kind of go into UFC. That's what I would say. Although some adults still watch wrestling, which is fine. But I used to play with the toys all the time. I had Undertaker, Kane, Mankind, Stone Cold, The Rock. I had all the toys. I used to sit there myself as a kid and would fight them. I had the little the chairs and I had the little ring and everything. So did you have the toy ring and the fake belts? Yeah, some of them. But this is years ago, man. I don't play with these. They're just kind of for a background, right? So. All right, let's get to the next fight here. We got Billy Quarantillo, one of our favorites here in the podcast, against Alexander Hernandez. At 145 pounds, Alex dropping down in weight. Billy Q, minus 165. Alexander the Great, plus 140. I'll start this one too, Marcel. I really like Billy Q in this fight. I think he wins, man. I'm high in Billy Q. I know, obviously, he had that fight with Shane Burgos that didn't go his way, but it was extremely close fight. He could have won. And it should have been fight of the night, although Chandler and Gaethje stole the show, right? But I think he's looked good in the UFC. He is 1, 2, 3, 4-2, but he could be 5-1, if he had won that fight. I think he's just a good fighter, good solid fighter. I don't trust Hernandez. His chin dropping down in weight. He's super inconsistent. Alexander Hernandez, he's win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. Marcel's going to bring it up. He's mentioned this many times that he thinks that Dariush knockout was an absolute fluke, and if they fought again, he would get smashed, right? I know you're going to say that. You're going to bring it up, and you're not wrong, to be honest with you. I mean, this guy had some good wins, like OEM, but Trinaldo even, although that was a close fight. But if you look lately, he's only been beating guys that are at the bottom of the barrel, like Gritzmacher and Breeden. He's losing the guys that are better. And Billy Q, I think, is pretty good. I think Billy Q beats him, Marcel. Honestly, I think Billy Q can push the pace and maybe even finish him late with a TKO stoppage or something. I think Billy Q wins this fight. What do you think?
Yeah, man, Billy Q against angry Matt Damon. Yeah, I mean, Billy Q for me as well. I still have to see Alexander Hernandez make 145, dude. I mean, that dude is already kind of ripped at 155. Now he's going to make 145. It's like Nate Maness going to 125. Remember? Yeah, I mean Hernandez, and if we're really gonna look close to his record, man, he got that win over Mike Breeden, we know, but that Trinaldo fight, man, he didn't won that fight. He should have been back then on a 3-fight losing streak, skit, I should say. Renato Moicano in his last fight, he lost that one pretty convincingly. Yeah, I got to go with Quarantillo here as well, man. I think Billy gets the win here, and it depends on how the weight cut goes with Alexander. If he has a good weight cut, it might be a decision. But if he doesn't have a good weight cut, maybe Billy can finish him. So
yeah, exactly. That's why I think he can finish him too because of the weight cut as well. I just say Chris Boxer isn't a top tier lightweight. Surreal. I know I'm so mean. Hernandez fought 145 since 2013. I mean, I think the weight cut will be hard too. I stick with my vibe, Billy Q. Yeah, he's gonna win. I think. I like the odds too. It's not bad odds, minus 165. It's not bad at all. All right, let's get to the next fight here, guys. We have Chris Curtis taking on Joaquin Buckley. Awesome fight in the UFC middleweight division. Kind of buried on this card, to be honest with you. Like, this is a great fight, I think. Right now, odds. Buckley's favored minus 155. Chris Curtis plus 135. What do you think? New Mansa or the Action Man? What do you think happens here?
Dude, did you know Chris Curtis was so salty? He was he was like super salty about the Hermanson still. He was like
saw that.
Yeah, it was really weird to me.
Kind of a sore loser a little bit. I mean, he's a really good fighter, but after Hermanson lost, he acted like a baby in the ring, complaining about Jack running, but Jack beat him cleanly. And Jack was Jack going to stay in the pocket with the guy that can knock you out? Like, why would he do that, right? So
exactly.
And then like you said the other day, obviously when Jack fought, he said something else. So I don't know. I like watching Chris Curtis. I'm just saying, like, I think he kind of acts like a sore loser at times. Like, there's a fight he had. Was it the Bilal Muhammad fight? I think he fought Bilal Muhammad, and if you watch that fight, Bilal I think wrestles him, and he like starts like freaking out after the fight's over. Like, there's footage of it. You can Google it. Pretty sure that's what happened. So he's a good fighter. I'm just saying he doesn't take losses very well. So
at the same time, I favor him against Buckley, man. I think he is much more composed than Buckley. I think Buckley is very wild all the time. I like to watch Buckley. He's very spectacular, but I think Chris Curtis is way more, like I said, composed, and he's more. He's very dangerous, I'm taking Curtis. I think he wins the decision, but will be a fun fight.
He's the underdog, so that's a good dog pick. There you go. There's a dog pick from Marcel. I'll have a couple dogs, but I don't think it's going to be in this fight. Although I could see Chris Curtis winning, obviously. I'm just pretty high on Buckley, man. I think he's really good, personally. They're both good. Don't get me wrong. This is a good fight. I just like Buckley. I like the way he fought back in that third round against Imavov, where he was losing and came back and nearly won the fight late. Obviously, had a nice win streak before that. I like the guy. I think he's pretty good. Unless he gets caught here, which he could because he's been knocked out a few times. I think he wins otherwise. So I guess we're on the opposite ends here, but I think he wins a decision. I think he probably goes the distance, so it'll be a fun fight. That's kind of what I think as well. So Buckley's underrated. He sure is. By the way, been subscribed to your audio podcast for so long now, Adam. Thanks so much, dude. I remember seeing you like probably a couple years ago. This is funny. Ask, what do you guys bet on? Well, I used to use DraftKings Ontario until fucking James Cross ruined it for us, but we'll see. I did hear from someone that, again, is close to investigation. They said that maybe in a month or two they could overturn the ban. So I'm hoping that's what happened. They have to work with the UFC and the commission and stuff. Again, guy was screwed for all of us. Update from Bond.
What I expected.
Is not retired. I know. I told you guys. Why do you guys even? That's why I was like, Like, I don't really think this roster watch. It's just, again, automatically text. It doesn't mean it's true. It's a guy the guy who has he's a good dude. Like, he's got this whole thing set up, but like, I feel like there's fake news that comes out of this a lot of the time too. So I
have many times when I listen, I have some fighters managers I'm talking to, and sometimes you see that there, and I was like, is he released or is she released? And it's like, no, it's not released, just the end of the contract, or it's an injury right now, or So it's not, doesn't mean when it's on there that somebody is released, retired, got cut, or whatever, That's why you make sure to get the whole story before you post it, you know what I mean? But that's why I always like UFC roster watch. It's handy, to see it on Twitter, but it's not like a decisive thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Agree with that. Pseudo's a troll, dude. I mean, him retweeting something you guys said it like I think in the last podcast. I was just like, I don't know if it's true. Any news on Dream News? I don't know, but he's really good. He could win the belt because he's got that grappling, right? And Preux, I think it's probably one of his weaknesses. So if they match them up, it's possible. All right, let's go to the next fight here. This one's interesting. Edmen Shahbazyan taking on Dalcha Lungiambula. I think it's pretty obvious, Marcel, that they're trying to give Edmen a win here. I mean, you look at the odds, he's minus 280, Dalcha's plus 235, and he should win this fight, guys, honestly, but can you really trust him anymore, Marcel, after the way he's looked? I don't know if I can. I mean, I think he's going to win. Like, he's 10 years younger, he's 6 inches taller. He actually doesn't have a longer reach, which is surprising, but again, he's looked so bad. He has fought really good opponents, so you can, give him a bit of a pass. And at times he's looked good. Like in that first round, I think it was the first round of Hermanson, I want to say. He looked pretty good. They got tired. But remember Brad Tavares win, obviously, a few years ago. They pushed him a little bit too fast, too soon. And I'm just hoping he's not ruined, I'll pick him to win, Marcel, but like laying this much juice on him, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's the best play. He should beat Dalcha, but Dalcha's, I know his record sucks, but his record's 2-4 in the UFC, but he's not bad, and I think his opponents have been pretty good too for the most part. I mean, he fought Ankalaev, Soriano, Brundage, Barrio. I mean, those are not, like, maybe he could have won like one of those fights against like Brundage, or the fight he was winning until he got choked out. But I think his opposition's been pretty tough. Same with, to be fair though, same with Edmen, right? I have to pick Edmen. I'm picking him, Marcel. He's 10 years younger. I'm picking him. Just saying, like, it's not like my favorite bet ever because of the way his form has been really poor lately. What do you think?
Yeah, so sometimes I'm talking to Leon, that's like Edmen's brother.
Yep.
And they both left Glendale Fight Club.
Where'd they go?
I think Edmen went to Extreme Couture, and I think Leon went to AKA, but I'm not sure. But they both left, and Leon said like he was. I think that was the fight against. Against who did he lost? Not the Tavares fight, but the Imavov fight. I think the Imavov fight. Leon was really upset with how the cornering was. I remember, and it was like, "Now we got to leave, man." It's like, listen, man, we've been here from the beginning. We love it here, but we have to leave. We have to better ourselves, And so they left, and I'm looking forward how Shahbazyan looks now. He always had only cardio for like one round, and he looked really good in the first round normally, and then he gasses. And I hope that he could change it, or the trainers he training with changing it. I know he's training a lot with Dewey Cooper, right?
Right.
So. Yeah, I'm taking Shahbazyan here as well. I think he finishes the fight as well, and it should be in the first round. But actually, I hope that we see Shahbazyan go into a third round, and that he can show his that he has improved. You know what I mean? Because if this fight goes only one round and he knocks him out, we still don't know if he got any better. You know what I mean? So that's why I hope. But I'm taking Edmen here. I really like Edmen. I think he's a great fighter. And Dalcha's fun fighter as well. I just don't think he has the level to be in the UFC. That's my honest opinion. No disrespect to the dude.
I don't think you're disrespectful. I think you're probably right. We'll fight on Saturday. All right, next fight here, we got Perrin taking on Raul Rosas Jr., making his UFC debut at age 18, which is crazy. Again, hey, Marcel, it's just so nuts. So this fight, odds for this one, guys. Rosas Jr. minus 230, Perrin plus 195. I'll start this one too. I mean, I think you have to pick this guy, Rosas Jr., because he looked like the real deal on the show. And the guy who beat Manu Gutierrez is actually not bad at all. He's actually a decent prospect too. So like that's a solid win. The thing is though, he's so young, and like his competition has been great. Now, Perrin is not great, but he's not bad either. Like I know he's 0-2 now in the UFC, but fought Batista, fight he wasn't going to win. Then Arichi Lang is good too, and that fight was a very close fight. I think Jay will give him a tough fight, man. I really do. I do think this guy will probably end up winning a decision, but again, so young and no experience in the octagon yet other than the Contender Series. I still feel like the jury's out a little bit in this guy, but they're definitely giving him a fight. He can win. He should win this fight. I'll pick him to win, Marcel, but I think it'll be a tougher fight. I don't think he finishes the guy. I think he'll probably go to the decision. So Rosas Jr. by decision. What do you think?
I think it's much more competitive than many people probably think. Rosas obviously has the height with him.
Yep.
Is super young. Everybody knows about the dude. He got signed with the UFC when he was 17. I mean, I think he's the youngest guy who got ever signed with the UFC, so everybody knows this dude. Jay Perrin, 0-2 in the UFC, got a loss in the short notice debut. Looked already a lot better against Aruchi Lang. I also feel that Rosas is probably going to win the fight, but I think Jay Perrin will give him a lot more work than people expect. So I'm taking Rosas via decision, not via finish, but via decision, and I think it will be a competitive fight.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Couple of comments here. Said Ragme enter the rankings. Oh, that's good. Jay's my boy from over here in the East Coast. Yeah, he is a Boston guy. He's got that Joker tattoo, which is cool. Generally, think it's weird to have an 18-year-old fight in the UFC. I mean, he's 18. He's legal, right? So I think it's fine. It was more weird when he was 17 fight contender. That to me seemed a little young, but the commission cleared him, and he proved he can compete in adults. So
it's still so weird, right?
It is fucking weird.
Imagine when you're fighting somebody. If you fight him 4 years back, he was 14, and you fight somebody from 26. Then
what were you doing when you were 18
abuse.
years old, Marcel? What was 18-year-old Marcel like? I didn't know you then. So what were you like back then?
What did I do when I was 18 years old? That's a really good question.
I was just partying, hanging out with my friends, chasing girls. I mean, that's what most guys that age do, right? Wasn't training for a cage fight. Wasn't fighting in the octagon. There's a lot of pressure.
I don't know. Maybe wanking off. Well, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
And that too, right? Of course. We're young guys. That's what happens. I can see the value of Perrin. Yeah, he could win. It's possible. Perrin's the lowest ranked fighter bantamweight in the UFC. There's got to be someone ranked lower than Perrin, right? There's got to be someone, right? At bantamweight, like maybe not. It's not bad. Sorry, how's it going, man? All right. Go to the next fight here. We have Jairzinho Rozenstruik against Chris Daukaus. I'm surprised this is the last prelim kind of. I got to be honest with you. I thought they would have put either Buckley or even Rosas, but I guess they're expecting a knockout. I mean, that's right. They must be right.
You know what the original feature prelim was? OSP against Gustafsson.
Oh God, I'm glad we're not going to see that fight. That fight would have been tough to watch. Gustafsson is just not the same guy anymore. Crazy. He used to literally be one of my favorite fighters. Yeah. I don't know what happened to the guy. All right, Jairzinho is favored here, minus 170, plus 145 in Chris Daukaus. Excuse me. Start on this one too. I mean, you got to pick Biggie Boy, right? Because he's an actual heavyweight. I still think Daukaus is not in the right weight class, Marcel.
Say it.
What?
Say it.
What do you mean?
You're picking Biggie Boy as long as he doesn't do the
frozen strike.
Yeah, that's really for.
As long as he doesn't do the frozen strike, where he just stands there and watches his opponent, he'll win. I know he got clipped obviously by Volkov, which I think we both picked him in that fight. I picked him for sure.
Yeah.
The Blades beats everyone with the wrestling. The Sakai fight was a nice knockout. We actually let his hands go. As long as he lets his hands go, I think he knocks Daukaus. I mean, Daukaus, listen, he's a good boxer too. Don't get me wrong, right? He's shown that, but 2 back-to-back knockouts against big dudes. This fight could be a boring fight, or it could be a quick knockout. I don't think it's either one or the two. I'm hoping it's the latter there that I mentioned. I'm going to go with Rozenstruik by knockout because, again, I think he's an actual heavyweight, and I think Daukaus should be a light heavyweight. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I'm picking Biggie Boy as well here. I think he wins. Got to be the first round, I guess. KO, obviously.
Yeah, you know what? Now that
not submission.
Yeah, they'll probably go. They'll probably scrap here. They'll probably end up scrapping, and someone gets clipped. So, I guess that's why they're putting him on the feature prelims. Daukaus Covey gets KO again. I don't think so. I think they like Chris Daukaus. He had a nice start to his career, man. The UFC, he was looking great, great knockouts. But I just think he's in the wrong weight class. I think he's a guy that should really consider I guess changing his diet probably. I mean, it seems like he's got a little bit of belly fat, Marcel. I think he can get to 205. I really do. The guy's fought, what was he 230 in his last fight? I want to see what he was. I gotta double check. It's funny because UFC stats says he's 250. I don't think that's right though. I don't think that's right. I'm gonna check his weigh-in for his last fight. 243. Okay, and he actually put on weight for that fight, I believe. Against Curtis Blades, what was his, or against Derek Lewis, I should say. What was his weight for that one? Weight for that one was what is this? 235. Yeah, man, he's not a he's not like. I know Rozenstruik, according to UFC stats, is 242, but that doesn't seem right. I feel like he's. I gotta check his last fight too. I don't know. Some of the weights don't for heavyweights are weird, right? Obviously, so I'm gonna double check his last fight. Yeah, that's wrong. His last fight was 259, dude. I don't know why it says 242 on his UFC stats. That is wrong. There's no way. Like Biggie Boy is a 260 pounder.
Yeah.
Biggie knocks him out. All right, let's go to the next fight here. Go to the main card, Marcel. We got a good one here. We got Bryce Mitchell taking on Ilia Topuria. What an awesome fight, man. I mean, this is definitely one of the better fights in the card.
Should be the co-main event.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, but I like it opening the main card either way. Amazing fight here. Odds for this one, Topuria is favored. He is best fight doesn't have it listed on the sheet with the other fights. Best fight is just really got to get it together. Minus 140 Ilia Topuria, plus 120 Bryce Mitchell. Again, I'll start on this one too. No, I think both guys are really good. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that they beat the majority of featherweights, Marcel. But like, I think Topuria is next level, and it's we always go against the Georgians. Our boy Georgie hates us for it, right? But this is one that I'm not going against. I mean, this guy is amazing in my opinion. I think he just matches up really well. Like Bryce Mitchell has to get the grappling going, I believe, to win this fight. I just think he's going to struggle with it in this fight. I think this Topuria guy is also a good grappler. And on the feet, I mean, I think he's just levels above with the knockout power, with the striking. And I know his last fight got clipped by Herbert, but came back and won with a brutal knockout after. Like, the guys looked amazing in the UFC. The knockout from Damon Jackson looks amazing now in hindsight after what Damon's been doing. Walking out Ryan Hall is not easy to do. Don't get me wrong, Bryce Mitchell's look great too, right? Like the twister, beating Barboza, knocking down Barboza, and then basically grinding him out. He looked great. He's really good, man. I just think the matchup's not suitable for him because he's fighting a guy that can stop the takedown. And on the feet, he's a better striker, Topuria. I'm picking Topuria. Maybe he knocks him out, maybe decision, but I'm picking him either way. What do you think?
Yeah, the thing is, like you said, man, as long as we're in contact with Georgie, we cannot pick Georgians, actually. So I can't do it. But at the same time, Topuria is Spanish as well. So he's Spanish for me in this fight. I think he's going to win. I really high on Topuria. You know that. I know you are as well. I think we were actually talking about this fight like a few weeks ago in the Discord chat with James, remember?
Yeah.
We normally never talk about fights, but this one came up and we were talking about it. I think the ground game is pretty even, to be really honest. I think both guys are really good on the ground, but I think I want to say Georgie. Ilia has a advantage in the stand-up. I think he knocks Bryce out in the first round, to be really honest.
He might do it. He's got so much power and he's a good fighter. Love Bryce. How can you love the Arkansas Navy? He's knocked out. Yeah, it's true. He's weird question. If you guys, everyone in the chat, if you could pick the outcome of one fight in the UFC, which pick would it be? Oliver 280 still hurts. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe Jones and Gustafsson. Imagine the division after that if that fight was different. If the judges gave it to Gus. Although I think they got it right. I was at the fight.
What was the question? Was if I can pick one
fight to like do over like the result of it, I guess.
Brock Lesnar against Frank Mir, 2.
Yeah. Daukaus and Bose would be good. That's true. They both should be at light heavyweight. Off topic is Krause's career over regardless if he is not. Probably, yeah. I don't think he's innocent, dude. I mean, there's so much evidence against this guy. He's not innocent. They're going to keep putting Topuria and Paddy against the same card, but not against each other. Yeah, I know, right? Topuria, they're not matching him up with Paddy. They're not going to do that fight. All right, let's go to the next one here. We are at this fight is really good. Darren Till taking on Dricus Du Plessis, and really like this fight as well. Du Plessis minus 190 now, plus 160 Darren Till. I mean, how do you pick Darren Till? How can you pick him here, Marcel? Like, he's looked bad. You talk about a guy in a decline. And again, I know he's fought good competition. I get it, right? But like, I don't think he beat Stephen Thompson. I think he beat Gastelum, but it was close. He really could be on like a 7-fight losing skid right now, or 6-fight losing skid, really. I know he's fought good competition, but didn't perform. And the last time we saw him against Brunson looked really bad. Just didn't look like he belonged there anymore. And remember, guys, he's a former welterweight moved up. Like, I still don't think he, is a big enough middleweight to fight a guy like Du Plessis, who's like big, strong, powerful, looked amazing in all 3 of his fights, knocked out Giles and Perez, and then beating Brad Tavares by decision is actually really impressive to me, Marcel, because Brad Tavares is a guy that beats everyone else by decision because he's got that crazy cardio and everything, and he beat him. So to me, that was such a big win for him, and I think it kind of shows that this guy is at that next level. I like Du Plessis here. And the only question for me is, like, does he knock him out or win decision? That's kind of what I'm wondering. I think he could knock him out, possibly. Masvidal knocked him out, Till. I don't know. Darren Till to me is a little overrated, Marcel. I got to be honest with you. I just never really bought the hype on him. And this is a good spot, I think, to pick against him. I got to go with Duplessis. What do you think?
Yeah, man, I'm picking Till as my playable character on EA Sports UFC. No, I'm thinking Dricus Duplessis probably gets a win here, man. Till doesn't look really into it anymore, and that's maybe from the outside. Maybe it's not true, but that's how I feel. And Dricus is doing very well in the UFC. He's looking better every fight, I think. The Tavares fight, really impressive, definitely because he got the third round against Tavares. Not many people will. I think he knocks Till out, to be really honest. I mean, Scousers can get knocked out as well. I think Till gets knocked out. And I really like Darren Till, by the way, so there's no disrespect.
Yeah, no, I think that he I don't know if he might get knocked out, but he is pretty tough, so it's possible to go the distance. This guy's talking about Preux. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. We both picked Ilia. Yeah. Brock Lesnar, Prime Division, Steroid Division. That's funny. Till looks out of shape coming from my fat ass, but still, that's what Beer just said. That's funny. I just don't think he's a middleweight. I know he was having a hard time making a welterweight, but you look at Duplessis, Marcel, that guy's like a Greek god on the scale, or South African god, I should say. That's where he's from. And by the way, him and Saaiman, I remember we talked about him a few months ago. I think they trained together, right? So, or they have trained together.
There was like a very picture from a very young Saaiman and also a very young Duplessis. So
that's great. That's crazy. Yeah, they're both good, man. Sad for Till. What do you do if he gets finished? Maybe he retires. I don't know, or maybe he'll leave. I don't know. They like him, but he's still a draw. That's the thing. People still want to watch him fight. But
yeah.
Love Duplessis says Marcus got him at minus 125. I know Marcus put a sizable bet on him. He sent me the bet slip. Guy drove to the Harrah's Casino. And where is it in, Marcus? It's in Georgia or Alabama or something? I know you drove like a few hours to go there. Put a huge bet on him. Or is it Mississippi, Marcus? You know better than me. Say it in the chat. I think Marcus is right. I mean, Marcus sent me the slip a month ago. I like to wait till the weigh-in just to make sure, because just say he comes in like 5 pounds, or not even 5 pounds of weight. Just say he looks horrible or something. I don't know. Like, I just like to have that last information. But if you'd waited like me, you're getting a worse line now. So I think you got a great line, Marcus, and you better hope that he looks great in the scale, which he always does. So I mean, really, you should win. North Carolina. There you go. All right, let's go to the next fight here. Wow. So basically, guys, we don't have the Ponzinibbio fight. We don't know who he's going to fight next. It's possible he could fight Barberino, but we don't know yet, so we can't talk about that fight. Quickly, we'll go through Paddy Pimblett and Jared Gordon and the odds for this one. Minus 245 Pimblett, plus 205 Gordon. What do you think about this one, Marcel? Co-main event.
First of all, this shouldn't have been co-main event, but hey, we all know why. The thing is with Jared Gordon, if he's on point, if he fights his game plan, he should be able to win against Paddy Pimblett. But also, Jared Gordon very inconsistent, in my opinion. Although he looked better in his last fight, I think. But the UFCs know what they're doing. They want to have Paddy Pimblett in a good spot. Got 3 wins so far in the UFC. First 2 wins were come from behind wins. Also finishes in the third one against Levitt. A good finish, a submission. I feel like Paddy probably going to win. I'm taking him with a decision here. But, that's what I expect. I don't expect anything fancy.
I think Paddy wins too. I think he could finish Jared Gordon, man. Gordon's been submitted. He's been knocked out. He's a good fighter, don't get me wrong. But I think this is kind of a tough fight. I mean, Paddy's proven he can grapple with guys. And Jared Gordon's only path is grappling, right? He's going to push a heavy pace, Jared Gordon. But I think Pimblett can, like that Levitt fight, get him in, caught in a submission possibly. Or if it stays standing, I think he's got a striking advantage too. I mean, it would be a good fight. I think it'll be a good fight. It's a good step up for Paddy, and it's a good fight for Jared. If he gets this win, I mean, it's huge for his resume. But I don't think he wins the fight. I think Pimblett can finish him. So Paddy Pimblett's got to be my pick here in this one, guys. Paddy versus Gordon, weirdest co-main events. Paddy's a star though, so I don't think it's that weird, honestly. Although it was supposed to be the third fight, right? Because it was originally the main event was supposed to be the third fight in the card. Okay. Hard to sensibly bet something in a fight where you really want one side to win, lose, hoping Paddy loses. I get what you're saying, but for me, it's just like I'm trying to look at it as neutrally as possible. I think Paddy's the better fighter, more well-rounded, and I think he wins. Although Gordon's good. All right, let's go to the next fight here, guys. This is the main event. We have Magomed and Ankalaev taking on Jan Blachowicz for the vacant UFC light heavyweight title, which obviously Yuri Prochazka had to give up, which sucks. But either way, I mean, it's an interesting fight. We got Ankalaev minus 265. Yeah, Blachowicz plus 225. Okay, I'll start this one too, Marcel. I mean, I have to pick Ankalaev. You know, I know, and I know you're picking him too. I mean, I don't think it's a surprise. The guy is an absolute unit. He knows how to win fights. Don't get me wrong, Jan is a step up probably from guys like Anthony Smith, who's good but not great. I think Blachowicz is a great fighter. He's proven that, right? He's looked good for the most part, except for the Glover fight where he got submitted quickly. Jan's a beast, but he's also, again, doesn't mean he'll lose, but he's 39 and he's taking on 30-year-old guys on a 9-fight win streak who's just destroying everyone, making it look easy. How do you not pick Ankalaev here? There's a reason he's almost 3-1. He's going to win the fight. And I believe it'll probably be by decision because I kind of see a point fight on the feet. I think he'll play it like that Thiago Santos fight a little bit. Maybe he gets hurt at one point, but eventually survives and wins. Jan will have his chances to land in this fight, and he has a puncher's chance. There's no doubt about it. But I think Ankalaev will just outpoint him and win the decision. So I'll be the new champion of the UFC light heavyweight division, in my opinion. What do you think, Ben?
This guy here. Do you see him here? This guy.
Yeah.
First round knockout.
Yeah.
He knocks out Jan Blachowicz in the first round. That's what I think.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I think he makes a statement in this one, man. I mean, many people always say, like, he's not really that entertaining. But I feel like he wants to be challenged. And this is a big challenge, you know? You fight for a title. You know what I mean? And I see him winning. I think he's going to risk it. And I think he knocks out Jan Blachowicz. That's what I think.
Risk it for the biscuit, right?
Yeah. So that's what I expect. Yeah, I'm taking Ankalaev, pretty obvious. And, man, would be great to have my pick from the beginning of the year correct, right? Light heavyweight champion.
Sure would be, wouldn't it? Yeah. I'm with you, though. I mean, I think he wins. It's unfortunate that Yuri didn't drop the belt. Let me get a couple comments here, guys. Alex Boone tweeted, TJ Brown versus Silva's been removed. Oh, shit. Well, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. So you can't bet on his fights either. That's interesting, man. That's interesting. This fucking Preux is rooting for everyone, guys, because I know people want to bet on it. Like, I guess you can't bet on BetMGM Vegas. We can't bet on BetMGM Ontario. It's weird. There is Bellator odds, though. I did see Bellator, so they haven't banned Bellator, which is I'll probably end up betting. We're going to go through Belcher in a few minutes here. A couple more comments here, guys. What's up, A-Logo? What do you guys think Daukaus' career, Kyle Daukaus, if he got the win in its Hall and saying screwed? I mean, it could have gone differently. And I think the ref really fucked up that fight. Dan early on. As soon as the head clash happened, the fight should have been stopped immediately. Shouldn't have went till he got submitted, then stopped it, and then look at the camera. Or the review, or whatever. You guys picked the original picture, Yuri Glover too. I would have picked. I picked Glover the first fight. I think he was winning until that submission, but I mean, after seeing the way the fight played out, I probably would have to pick Yuri just because of the youth. Who would you have picked? You would have picked Yuri?
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit also about the Glover situation. So
yeah,
the thing is with Glover had no leverage in this thing. You know what I mean? He was the challenger. He wasn't the champion. He lost his last fight. I know he was the former champion, but he had no leverage in this thing. Maybe he can fight the winner, but that's not a guarantee, obviously. You know, but. Yeah, the thing is, like, he wanted to. Blachowicz was okay, but Ankalaev wasn't, you know. So it's like, you cannot say the UFC overlooked him. He got the first choice, and he said no, so they went past him, and they needed a title fight for this card. You know, I know back in the day when we also were watching Adam, we didn't need actually a title fight on a pay-per-view card, you know. But it's changed now so much, and also the UFC. Listen, man, if you ask so much money to the American viewer for a card, you have to put on a decent card. You know what I mean? So yeah, lots of change, and I think that's it. You know.
Yeah, no, I think you're right as well. All right, there's a couple more comments. I got them quickly, guys. We're gonna get out here in a few minutes. We're gonna go over Belcher really fast. I gotta get out of here in a few minutes though. Do you think Pavlos deserves a title shot? Probably, but I think he'll have to get one more fight and go fight one more time. All right, we'll go through Belcher. And there was one other question Future had here. Oh, okay, here. One thing I had to ask, forgetting. I'm still mad about it. Felder versus Hooker. Everyone saw Felder won that. I think it was like he was fighting in New Zealand, right? So no surprise the judges went for Hooker. All right, let's go to Bellator really quick, guys. We'll pull it up here and go through Bellator 289. Marcel, just really quick preview here, like 5-10 minutes, like max. Actually, like 5 minutes. I got to get out here in a sec, guys. Appreciate you guys joining us, though. I mean, it's been a fun podcast. Should be a good card this weekend. I picked most of the favorites, I think. I mean, I think most of them win, but there'll probably
Can
be
I
a
put
few
it on
upsets.
screen?
Yep, one sec.
Thank you.
No problem. Oh, I pulled up the wrong one. There's Topology here. Type it in, it doesn't come up. It's not like the first thing. What the hell? Should be like the first thing. All right, let me pull it up. Again, we're going to go through this for a few minutes here, guys. Oh, here's a good question. Netherlands or Argentina prediction. I mean, I'm sorry, Marcel, but I think that you guys will probably lose. What do you think?
Listen, man. If before the tournament, I had this matchup in the quarterfinals, and I picked Argentina to win. But if I'm really honest, man, right now, I don't think Argentina looks that good, but I also don't think the Netherlands look that good. So I think it will be a close matchup.
Match?
Yeah, I think it really would be. But I wouldn't be surprised if it comes to penalties. So
we think maybe two. I think maybe 2-1 Argentina. That's my pick.
Yeah. Argentina's definitely favorite in this one, in this one. Don't get me wrong, but it can go either way. You know, the Dutch against the Argentines have always been a close engagement when they play each other. You know, I think we lost to them in 2014 in Brazil. We lost penalties.
Yep.
We won 1998 in quarterfinal 2-1. We lost to them in the World Cup final in 78, 3-1 after extra time. It's always been close. We draw against them in the group stage, so it's always been close between the two of us. I think will be a fun game. It's on Friday, I think. We'll see, you know. And the thing is, actually, as a football fan, I actually hope Argentina goes further in the tournament and they meet Brazil in the semifinals, because that would be a sick game. I really want to see that one. But obviously for the Dutch, I hope we get through. But there's no guarantee in that, you know.
For sure. The guy in the right looks like Jake Paul. That's that Danny Sabatello, you mean? 1-0 Netherlands. No per masterclass. That's what your boy says. So we go. Buckley returned too fast, similar to Basin last week. I don't know about that. I mean, do you take much damage against Imavov? I don't know. But you're right. It was in September, so maybe you're right. Maybe something to think about. I mean, Chris Curtis could win. He's definitely a live dog. Marcel picked him.
I honestly do.
Yeah. No, I believe that. All right,
only in 78 I wasn't here. I was for it.
All right, let's go through Bellator, and we'll go through it quick, Marcel, because honestly, I got to get out of here.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. You don't have to apologize at all.
I know I'm fine. I'm always looking in the mirror. No, just
yeah. But we're not going to go through the whole Bellator card. We'll go through the main card, though, because it is a good main card. All right, so let's go through the main card here. Rafael Stotts versus Danny Sabatello. Stotts minus 165, Sabatello plus 140. I mean, Stotts is super well-rounded, super good. Danny Sabatello is a great grinder, though. I think Danny Sabatello can win this fight. I think he can grind him out, but, I mean, I'll pick Stotts. He's favored. He's a really good fighter. I'm going to pick him, but I'm just saying Danny's got the wrestling to make it interesting. What's your pick?
Yeah, Danny Sabatello, just heard your opinion. It's good that he doesn't give a fuck. Just kidding. I also think Stotts wins. Will be a fun fight, I think. Two good grapplers, but I think Stotts more complete. I'm going with Stotts here.
There you go. All right, go to the next one here. This Carmouche against Juliana Velasquez. The rematch. I picked Carmouche in the first fight. I think you did too. I believe. Yeah, we both picked her. Velasquez is actually favored in the rematch, minus 190, plus 160 on Carmouche.
I understand that.
I know that the stoppage was controversial a little early and stuff, but like I still think you're getting good value on Liz Carmouche. She is the champ. She won the first fight. I'll pick Carmouche again. I'll take the plus 160. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm also picking Uriah Faber's sister. I think she wins unanimous decision.
There you go. Magomedov versus Patchy Mix, who I believe is he still? I know he I want to say he's dating Tatiana Suarez. I remember they were at that Bellator card a few months ago, Marcel.
I remember that.
Lucky guy, man. That's all I'll say about that. And apparently Tatiana's coming back. Apparently, John Anik said that at the broadcast. So I'm really excited about her return because she's such a great fighter. Well, she's been away for almost 4 years now, I think, right? It's crazy, eh? Or 3 years or something. Magomedov is minus 140, plus 120 on Patchy Mix. I'm going with Magomedov. I think he's well-rounded. I mean, Patchy Mix is a great grappler, but I don't know. I like Magomedov. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm also going with the Dagestani Eminem. I think he wins here. Yeah.
Dalton Rosta, he is up next on the main card, and Dalton is what's the odds for this one? Minus 750.
Yeah.
Against what is his name? Superfoot or something? Anthony Adams? Sugarfoot. Listen, he had a nice upset win in his last fight against this Khalid Mirzataliev guy. He won as a huge underdog, so that's a nice win. But like, I mean, I think Rasta is the real deal. This is another classic Bellator matchmaking, and this time they get it right here. He wins, Marcel. I think he knocks him out. What do you think?
Yeah, he ain't fighting Luke, so Dalton will win.
Yep.
Yeah, probably a decisive win, I think.
On the prelims, there's a lot of mismatches. Cody Law is a massive favorite again, I believe. Well, he's minus 300. It's not massive, but I mean, Chris Lencioni is not bad, but I think Cody Law probably wins. Mark Lemminger, Michael Lombardo, you know what? Lombardo is an interesting dog. He's plus 125. I think he could win. He's another one of these guys that's kind of boring, but he could win.
Series, right?
Yeah, they passed on him. I want to say he won and they passed on him. Jared Scoggins, I think it's Justin's brother, right?
Yeah.
Scoggins? Yeah. He should beat this Caspel guy. He is minus 300. Minus 500, excuse me. Kai Kamaka versus Kevin Bain. I mean, this is kind of a joke. I think minus 300 is a great price on Kamaka. He should be like minus 500, in my opinion. You're obviously picking him, right?
Yeah, Kai was supposed to fight somebody else. Burma's short notice.
He's not that good, and he just came off a brutal loss, in my opinion. I think against some Russian guy. Randy Field, Canadian, against some Christina Katsikis. Randy Field is minus 250. I think she wins as well. I think there'll be a lot of chalk in this card, you know? Patrick Downey versus Christian Eccles. I'm not too familiar with these guys, to be honest with you guys, but Downey's minus 1,500, so obviously he's going to win the fight. It's Bellator. Kyle Crutchmer versus Jaleel Willis. Crutchmer is, I believe, the favorite. Minus 280.
Yeah.
You think he wins? Jaleel Willis isn't too bad, right?
No, but then we'll go with Crutchmer. But it's, yeah.
Well, what's your girl, Denise Keelholtz, taking on Ilaria Joanne Keelholtz? I think she's, minus 150. That's a good line. What do you think?
Yeah.
She wins?
Yeah, I think in Keelholtz here. I think she gets back on track.
Sorry. Lucas Brennan against Drew Miley. Lucas Brennan.
That fight is off.
Oh, it's off. What happened?
Drew Miley didn't. Drew Miley tweeted, I think, 2 days ago that the fight was off, that he couldn't fight. I don't know.
Minus 700, so he should win. The update in Fizzy, I haven't heard, but hopefully he fights soon. I think his nose surgery went well, I believe, so hopefully he fights soon.
I still heard that he should come back against Gaethje probably in March somewhere, so I'm not sure, but that's what I heard. All
right, well, there we go. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. It was a lot of fun. We obviously did 2 podcasts again, Mondays. Marcel, I think that's it for today, man. I'd just like you to plug your stuff once again. Thanks for joining me, Marcel, as always on Mondays, and everyone in the chat. Marcel, plug your stuff really quick. We'll get out of here.
Yeah, you guys can follow me if you really want to follow me on BigMarcel24 on Twitter and Instagram, and Eurosport.nl Mixed Martial Arts section.
Here you guys go. You guys can follow me on Twitter at MMAdamMartin, podcast, MMAOddsbreaker.com. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it, all that stuff. MMAOddsbreaker.com for all the betting news and odds. Bookies.com got my best bets coming out tomorrow or the next day, and MyMininews.com for all your news. We'll be back next Monday, guys, and we'll be recapping UFC 282, previewing UFC Vegas. I want to say 66. I want to say. So,
yes, that's right.
Crazy. So many of those cards ever since COVID. Crazy. Mm-hmm. All right, Marcel, let's end the podcast, guys. Thanks again for joining us. Take care. Have a great week. See you guys next Monday. Bye.
Yo.